So in this week's Creative Confidence Catch Up, I'm going to be chatting with Geoff. So Geoff, would you like to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me here today, Amy. So I'm Jeff. I'm the founder of MindAxis Life Coaching, which is my primary occupation as a coach. I'm also the founder of EcoHydrate and Stress Apparel. So I work as a coach and an entrepreneur.
So my first question to you today is, when have you felt the most confident in your life?
Probably right now,
Hmm.
like at this current point in my life, I just came off, I've lost 20 kilos in the past year, I've
Wow.
fixed up my fitness and, I've done like marathons and things in the past year. So this is definitely the best I've ever felt in my life.
When was a point where that you probably didn't feel as confident then? Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've struggled with confidence for a long time, not in the past couple of years, but definitely when in my younger 20s, because during school and my childhood, obviously I had a bit of a tough time, as many people do, and it kind of dented my self-esteem and confidence and such. And I wasn't able to express myself without feeling shy or that I was going to be judged. But in the last couple of years, it's really been a journey of going from being afraid of my own shadow to embracing myself so that I can, for example, talk on a podcast or talk in front of many people, and I'll be the same as I would be in private. Like, there's really no difference.
Yeah, I don't know if you think the same, but don't you think that you have to kind of go through certain experiences to then feel more confident in what maybe you're talking about? Because I know there are probably plenty of maybe coaches and things out people out there that they'll talk about a certain thing, but probably don't necessarily know about it enough. Whereas if you've been through a certain experience, you can easily put yourself out there, and then it becomes more authentic, and you can connect with people more because you have been through that certain experience.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, if you haven't been through it, you can't relate to other people, and most definitely you can't coach other people on it as well. In fact, if you were trying to coach someone on something you'd never done, you're a bit of a hack. You're lying. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah,
it's definitely, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and sometimes I always find, like, you can tell, like, when people are marketing, doing the different stuff out, and you're like, "Nah, I just don't buy it." But when people do actually share their own stories about what they've been through and, like, obviously purpose, for me, that's a big deal, and I've seen on your, LinkedIn plenty of times, purpose and things like that. It's so important, isn't it? Unless if we don't have a why about why we're doing something, I always find it just feels forced and it just doesn't align. In terms of marketing and things like that anyway, out there on places like LinkedIn, social media and stuff.
I completely agree. If it's not aligned, we don't really want to be spending our time doing it. I mean, we only have so much time in the day. Why do something that we hate? And it's interesting you brought up the topic because that's something that's been circulating in my mind for a long time. Is that for me, I love video.
Mhm.
I have practiced the skill of writing for a long time, but I absolutely love video. It makes me feel alive when I create or, make different videos and add sounds like TikToks, Instagram. And for me, that's something I want to double down on. Like, I love doing that and I want to keep doing that more. So you're completely correct and I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah, and like I say, it is about having, like, finding something that you know about, and then kind of digging deep. Because for me, at the moment, it's more about, like, creative confidence, and creative confidence is a big thing. But when you start to kind of pinpoint certain things, everybody is creative in their own right. But obviously, when they don't see themselves as confident, creative in the first place, the confidence usually lacks. And it is just pinpointing certain things. And then once you've got your main theme, I find it's a lot more easier then to kind of span out and to talk
Yeah,
about it.
100%. 100%. Like once you know what you're about and what you're actually good at creating, you can double down on that. Like for example, I know I'm good at writing and I'm good at making videos. So I don't try doing things beyond that. Like I'm not really good at long form content, haven't mastered that
Mhm.
yet. But in terms of short form, like short form TikToks, videos, in terms of even like social media posts, that's something I've worked on for years and that's my bread and butter now. But like for example, YouTube videos, still learning that skill. So when we have like something we know is a strength, we should probably use that. Otherwise, it's going to go to waste.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. So, as like I was, we've been talking about obviously in marketing and stuff like that as well. Obviously, I saw your TikToks and I've seen your, like, LinkedIn and stuff like that. In relation to LinkedIn, do you think that's probably one of the best places at the moment for creating community, or is there another way that you do create community?
No, LinkedIn's probably the best way to create a good community. LinkedIn is also the best way to find clients. while Instagram and TikTok gives you more reach to more people, like kind of actually subscribing to what you do, LinkedIn is really good for actually making good connections because you have people under their real names, so they're not going to act like an idiot like they might on TikTok, or YouTube. But with LinkedIn and Instagram, especially, they're a real person, right? So they're going to behave like a normal individual and not kind of troll you about that.
Yeah, yeah, I get you. Because that's the worst thing. Like, and I find that, do you know, when we're on just on about YouTube, so I've got obviously this podcast is here on YouTube, and there have been not necessarily the podcast, but the like other short form content bits that have popped on, and because somebody didn't agree with that, well, a little troll or whatever, they then kind of like said, oh well, whatever, and then like all these stupid messages came up, and I'm like, really, what's the need in that? Because obviously they're not interested, because they haven't got like an avatar picture, so it's not a real person, but it kind of that can stifle confidence, can't it, sometimes?
It definitely can. I mean, it used to do that for me as well when I first started posting. I get like really heated up when somebody would leave a negative comment. But now I just laugh it off. It's kind of funny. It's like, can you imagine sitting on the other side of a screen, not even showing your face, and just trying
Yeah.
to bring other people down? Like, where is your life at, to be doing that?
Yeah, I totally agree. And there's probably loads of people that end up doing that. And it's just like, it's just a waste of their time. It's a waste of our time. It's like, who wants a like negative comment left on the site? But it's just one of those things that I suppose it just makes you a bit more resilient, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Take the punches as they come.
So, can you tell us a bit more about your life coaching then, and the sort of things that you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, 100%. So I work as a coach for millennials, and it started off as life coaching, but recently I found that most of the people I work with are utilizing my help to help them create a business that they want to do, which is ironically what I've done as well, because I've gone from being a full-time worker. I used to be in corporate clinical research, and I've gone to actually doing my own thing. So the transition there from being employed to self-employed is something that I'm finding most people are coming to me for. So even though
Oh,
I do life coaching, it turns out that most of the things that people want is business coaching. So I do both. And it's something that I'm actually transitioning now. I'm transitioning from being purely a life coach to being someone that helps people create a self-employed system where they can work remotely or they can work wherever they want, really. So I
oh,
help people basically discover what it is they want, uncover what is blocking it, and then creating a strategy. And the real strategy is how it all comes together. We build out a clear strategy on what you need to do in the next couple of years and distilling it down into milestones so then they can take literal steps towards achieving that.
I love that. And you know, like the way that you like kind of put yourself across onto LinkedIn doesn't feel salesy, or it just feels like you are talking about your own lived experiences, things that you've been through, etc. And you posting it there. And obviously it is about like going back to that point, talking about what we know about, and then kind of translating it in, not in order to sell something, but in order to impact people more positively and to benefit them.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about, right? And
Yeah.
then, naturally I am selling something because I'm selling my services and my course, but that's not my real intention. My intention is that
Yeah.
if you want to improve your life, you can invest in that. But I'm not going to just like tell you all the benefits like some people do on LinkedIn. And I'm like, oh, like I know about your course, that's amazing, but like what about like your life or what's interesting about that you observed? Not just what you're selling me. So I prefer to give people something they can use. So even if you don't buy whatever, like at least you have something that you've gained from it.
And it's quite interesting as well, like in terms of that why and purpose. And now, because I always find like when in the past, like being creative, I enjoy being creative, but it was when I found out why I was doing what I was doing, it then opens up other doors. I don't know if that you found that in the past, from where you came from and your journey, and then how you got to where you are now, is why in that purpose a real big like key pillar for you.
Yeah, it's definitely the integral piece for everything. If you don't know why you're doing something, then you're just going to be wasting your time. So it's always about checking in. Even I do it with myself all the time. I always check in, am I doing this for the correct purpose? Even if I want to do something, not like, innocuous things, but like monumental things like traveling or doing this or that. I'll always check in, is this going to help me achieve my ultimate aim of what I want? And then if it is, then yes, I can continue with doing that. But it always comes back to my real reason why I want to do things and where I want to go in my own personal journey.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. My question on this then now is, do you think it's important when boosting confidence, just creativity in general? Do you think that does actually boost confidence within people.
I think it does if we share a creative side.
Hmm.
So, if we're creative at certain things like video, drawing, or writing, and we do it a lot in private, it can be pretty frustrating because we can begin to doubt ourselves, especially when you're writing in an echo chamber and you only have your own perception. There's no real way of knowing what you're doing is good or bad, and many people quit in this process. It's why
Hmm.
so many people say they want to create content, but they never do, is because their own mind talks them out of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when we are creative, we need to put it out into the world. And I've been doing this for a long time, almost 3 years now, because I wanted people to see what I could create and maybe I could validate that for myself. I started posting content in 2020 across different social media sites and things like that. But I've always loved the process of creating something and somebody gaining value. And that's what actually makes me happy when somebody might message and say, hey, this post was awesome, or I enjoyed it for whatever
Hmm.
reason. That makes me very happy because I know that my creativity has done something for someone else. And that does
Yeah.
boost my confidence. Makes me feel like I should do more.
And also, do you find when you're talking something or saying something, it's like the more you say it, the more it kind of manifests and the more you believe in it, if that makes sense? Because I found that like with creativity, finding my why, and then the more I kept talking about certain things, I'm like, actually, there's something there because there's people are relating to that more.
Yeah, definitely. Like, when you have friends or family around you, talk about what's on your mind. Don't talk everything, but talk about the things that you want to clarify or things that other people might find relatable. And then you can bounce ideas. And I do this with my friends. I do this with my family all the time. I'm a very external person. So I like to think a lot. But then if I cannot solve something, I want to talk to somebody else about it as well. And not as in like a problem, but as in like here's this idea. What are your thoughts? You know what I mean? It's not really a problem-based thing, but it's like an intrigue, curiosity, inventive sort of behavior where I can validate that from other people.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like I always find like other people's perspective so important because there might be something that in that process they might validate, but then there'll be something that they also go, oh, what have you thought about this? And you're like, oh, actually, and that takes you on to another road sort of thing.
Yeah, it does. And going on all those tangents is the best part about talking. I mean, like, if you just talk based on like an objective, it can get pretty boring because then the conversation was forced. But if you just talk about many different things, like for example, even our podcast right now, we've talked about all different tangents,
Yeah.
and that makes it interesting. We can keep going and there's a good conversation.
And then through these different sorts of podcasts, I always find there are sorts of key pillars, key topics that stand out. And I'm thinking, well, if that person's saying that and that person's saying that, there's more of a chance that other people are going to resonate with it, which is great.
Yeah, humans are more similar than we like to think, right?
That's true. That's true. So, as we come towards the end of this week's episode, my last question to you today is: do you have any words of wisdom or encouragement that you'd like to share with the viewers today?
Yeah, if anyone's listening to this, I would recommend that if you have something you want to do that's like burning inside of you, maybe you want to be a writer or you want to be a content creator. If you want to create something, do it because everything begins from creativity. Your spark of life is literally your ability to create. If you lose that, you kind of die a little bit on the inside. And I'm a guy that used to work in corporate, and my life was literally dragged away from creation to just iteration, just doing things for analytical purposes. I felt like I was dead inside, and my physical self and my mental self reflected how I felt. So if you want to do something, you don't have to exactly, destroy wherever you are in life right now, but take little steps, maybe post an Instagram post, maybe do a TikTok or a reel, put yourself out there and have a bit of fun. Enjoy yourself because at the end of the day, you do have a time limit. There will be a point in time where you can no longer do it for whatever reason in your life. So if you have the opportunity now, give it a shot.
Brilliant. No, great words of advice. I love that. But thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise, it's been awesome. Thanks so much for having me.